Welcome back, guys, to more 2018 LCK Spring. We're going into the second match of the night, KT Rolster versus the BBQ Olivers. We had some chicken earlier for our birthday boy, Papa
Delicious.
Cindy.
Delicious it was, Valdez, but the delicious chicken is going to find a KT Rolster coming off a telecom war, which for the last year has meant maybe at their lowest ebb, having lost to their bitter rivals. For once, it means they are coming off a victory. KT riding high after upsetting SKT earlier this week.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why I predicted a 2-0 victory for KT tonight. I don't think it's too far to call that. I think it's pretty likely to happen, rather. We're going to introduce our two teams with our host, Kim Soo-hyun. KT Rolster here in the booth, looking good, ready to go. The alpaca is in place. Everybody is happy. Let's take a look at the lineup. No rush for game number 1. I know a bunch of you out there are pretty unhappy about that, but maybe someday, who knows?
And another Feels Birthday Man moment we should talk about is that Yeovil turns 17 on the 30th of January. So he is still not eligible to play. Oh, I can see Pawn consorting with the enemy. He's eating BBQ chicken as we speak. All right, this is where the match fixing starts, apparently. They're trying to get into his heart, into his mind with the chicken.
He's got like a little smirk on, too. He knows what he's doing on camera.
I mean, if he's able to smash BBQ, then perhaps that will be a different clip, but he knows he's on screen now. He's enjoying his chicken. It's delicious, guys, by the way. We don't have a personal sponsorship, but our league does, so
yeah,
take that with what you will, whatever grain of salt you want.
You can see it in the booth behind Smeb, expertly placed right behind the top laner. And yeah, we had some chicken earlier in the break. It was good. I enjoyed it. But let's go ahead and introduce our chicken team on the opposite side of the rift.
바로 호흡을 맞춰나가고 있기 때문일 겁니다. 시간이 지나면 그 어느 팀보다 강해진 모습이 보일 팀. BBQ Olivers!
BBQ Olivers looking not bad after bringing in some players from the European region. Looking quite strong as a team, actually, sitting at 1-1. They've played the least amount of games of any other team.
If you're wondering what Tempt is doing, he's playing with his hand warmer. It is quite a cold day here in Korea, so don't read into it too much. Also, don't read into their substitute jungler, Bono. He's probably playing a gig somewhere. I don't even think he's in the studio. I have still not seen Bono. You know, I wasn't sure what he looked like, so I Googled him. I think I now know what he looks like, but he's not there.
Yeah, you can tell he's definitely not in the booth. Maybe someday he'll come off of his busy schedule and join us here in the booth.
I'm liking these artist renditions of the players. There's Tempt. Looks kind of like Faker in that picture.
A little bit. You know.
Trick looks like he just saw something surprising.
They all look like they're really surprised by something.
Crazy looks kind of sensual in his photo.
Eyes wide open.
Crazy.
They got the lips correct.
They did.
You're right.
The BBQ fans, they love their chicken, they love their team, but like you say, they've only played twice, a win over Kongdu, a loss to Rox, really unsure where their season really stands, and when you've played Kongdu and Rox, you only have 7 matches left. You know there's some tough teams waiting for them, Valdez, so there's no guarantees we really know what to expect from BBQ, as today is my birthday, but it's also this man's birthday, so happy birthday to Pawn, January 26th, Australia Day. It is his 21st birthday in Western age, 22nd birthday in Korean age.
That's cool, you and Pawn have the same birthday. Didn't know that, but let's take a look at this. 531 days to finally defeat SKT. They finally did it, guys. The emotions came pouring out as they made it count.
And the Korean there basically says, you know, it looked like it was going to be a losing game, a losing series for KT, but they turned it around. There's heroics by the birthday boy, Pawn, on the Azir. Really allowed them to get back into the series after it was looking like SK Telecom would actually be able to pick up the win in the Telecom war. So yes, 531 days. 531 days ago was the summer semi-final in 2016. They reverse swept. The only person from that roster still on the roster today is Score, who, like you say, will be starting. Pawn is one of the players that came a lot at the start of 2017, and his Azir, the DPM numbers are high, almost 1/3 of his team's damage. He's looked great.
They're calling out to Azir. They're saying, hey, Azir, get ready to be banned. I don't think they're going to let Pawn play the Azir even once. It's just too good of a pick right now, and definitely worth banning out in your first rotation. But here this also says,
Trust me,
Mata.
I like that one, and I think the reason why they do that is, you'll remember the big turning point in game 1 of that series was when Deft was auto-attacking the Baron over the walls. Caitlyn with Guardian Angel let the enemy initiate on him, and they were able to win from there. And Deft's positioning last year in Telecom Wars was a big source of criticism for KT Rolster and their AD carry in particular, but he was more on point in that series than any other Telecom War previously. A lot of optimism for KT Rolster. Look at the other start, and the season started pretty well for the side of BBQ. Things starting to fall apart, and their draft especially. We're talking about the Cho'Gath and Taliyah combo. I was dissatisfied with most parts of that draft, specifically Taliyah and Varus as the only threats against Galio and all sorts of engage. Predictably, every time their flash was down, Songwon ulted off cooldown, they died, and the game was lost. So BBQ Olivers, they've shown some good things, but they've also shown some questionable drafting. So we'll see if they can improve in that.
Crazy, definitely strong in lane. And that's one of those backhanded comments where it's like, yeah, he's good in lane, but what about all the other times? I don't know if that's what they're trying to say here, because he's been pretty solid. He's one of the guys on BBQ that I think have been having a pretty good first 2 weeks of LCK, you know, slowly getting better and better. He looks just a small bit better than last year. Let's hope the improvement continues.
And if you asked me about Crazy as a player, you know, one of these players who really hasn't taken the next step to stardom, I kind of would follow what SpoTV is saying. I would say his laning phase, his strength, good mechanics, but in teamfights doesn't necessarily have the impact of other players. It's more happy pawn day. Signs are there for the man in the mid lane. He was second best to Faker in the Telecom War basically every game, but got over the line with some great teamfight plays. So his laning phase needs to tighten up. And Tempt is not an easy opponent by any means. So I'm very excited to watch the mid lane matchup, even on this day of Pawn.
Pawn looked like his thumb was hurting. I don't know what was going on with that, but hopefully he's okay. I thought maybe they tried to take away his chicken, and he was like, no! Slapped his hand back. Maybe that's what happened to his thumb.
Great social media video from KT Rolster that I retweeted of Smeb, just shouting in happiness after winning the Telecom War. You guys should check that one out. It's in Korean, but you hear the words Maokai and a lot of cheering and happiness, so you kind of get the gist of what he was trying to say.
They finally did it, and tonight, as you said, they're going to be coming off of that victory more just ready to go and passionate than ever, because in your pro gaming career, there are times where you might be like, oh, you know, I'm not feeling that great. I've been playing this game for a while. I'm not really having much fun anymore, but I think after a win like that, it really changes your perspective about what you want to do as a pro gamer, and I think this will give them the encouragement to go into the rest of the season and try to go up against the two other teams that look really strong in KSV and KZ. They're going to really have to show up against them.
And while the math doesn't work out for KT in the Telecom War, recently with this lineup, remember, it was the first time that Smeb was actually shot caller. He's 1-0.
Well, that he is. So guys, we're ready to go into the ban and pick phase of game number 1 of KT Rolster versus the BBQ Olivers. Here we go, straight into game 1, pick and ban. We will see the Gangplank banned out here against Crazy. He's shown that he loves to play that Gangplank, and then the Kog'Maw taken away from Deft.
Yeah, now will probably be the highest priority for Crazy, but like you say, plays both sides of that matchup that has defined the top lane so far in patch 8.1. Deft has been drawing an incredible amount of Kog'Maw bans, even though in week 1 on the same patch, they were going Kog'Maw unpicked. They weren't even prioritizing them. But that, of course, is because his legacy as a Kog'Maw player defines him as a player. His hypercarry Twitch and Kog'Maw in 2014 has really always been his calling card. Surprising to see Braum so high in the ban phase. Second ban on blue side. Expected to be a red side first round, taking your AD carry and support, but adding Braum in there for level 1 and even just late game teamfighting insurance with the Unbreakable. This really blocking unspeakable amount of damage is cool to see. Is when you see a Malzahar ban on blue side, it says, we would like to first pick Rise.
That it does. I love the fact that Braum is finally getting the attention he deserves, right? We were talking about how it's just so strong, #1 support nowadays, and does get taken away. You were talking about Rise. They are hovering the Ezreal, and
We'll lock it in.
deft on Ezreal. Very scary.
Is the strongest of the Triumvirate available, and maybe Pawn just wants to go with his 3-0 Azir and extend it. Traditionally, people like the Rise side of the matchup, but we should mention that Tempt has been basically Malzahar only this season when we think of his effective picks. Played some Talia and Rise, hasn't really impressed us on those, so maybe it's just a comfort ban rather than a coverage ban for a Rise.
Yeah, they take away the Varus and the Kha'Zix, but I said it before the game started, you don't necessarily want to give that Azir away to Pong, but we'll see what they do decide to pick here. They're hovering the Ornn right now. 1 second left to go.
And Pawn's Galio is also available, so will they just go for an unkillable front line and try to increase the pace of the game? For now, at least, not revealing it, although when you see Jarvan, you start to wonder.
Okay.
So mid lane being deprioritized, which to me does suggest that perhaps things like the Galio will be considered. Could see BBQ just lock in mid lane and double ban it against the side of KT. But the Gnar is available. It's ultra comfort for the side of Crazy.
Yeah.
And if it is to be Ornn versus Gnar, which is certainly a possibility, we haven't seen support Ornn out of Mata, but it's been pretty commonplace here in Korea, then that will suit the side of BBQ just fine.
You were talking about that dive comp, and it was actually support Ornn in that game that was being played by the Rock support. So not really thinking that it's going to be that with the Gnar. They want to take that matchup. Gnar, a pretty decent blind pick as well. They don't think that Smeb is going to bring out the Jace here and try to smash that Gnar in the way that Khan does.
You
but
know,
either way,
I think perhaps they should, because Smeb is another one of our Jace gods in Korea. Smeb, Cuve, Khan certainly are great Jace players. Janna banned, so suggesting a tank support, again, still could be the Ornn. Ornn actually gets countered by Janna in teamfights if you time the Tornado perfectly after the first cast of the ultimate to interrupt his ability to actually use the second part of the core, the Forge God. Well, coverage bans for the Gnar, but noticeably, no Jace ban.
yeah, and you'll notice that they ban out the one support pick and one top pick. I mean, I suppose the Camille could go jungle, but you already picked Jarvan. So they're thinking, you know, maybe this Ornn could go support, or it could go top. So let's take away one from each position that we're very scared of right now.
Tahm Kench available. Good answer against the Varus. But when we're talking about Ignar, then the Shen has to come into consideration. He loves to play all lanes of the map. When his bot lane is winning, his ability to roam, and even now with the Shen, if the Varus is playing safely, his ability to use the global is going to be one of his calling cards. And against KT, trying to deal with the early aggression with this Shen. So get confirmation now. It will be support Shen, but not confirmation on the role of the Ornn just yet. They're going to go with the Rise, much delayed from what we thought it would be taken. But in this particular draft, it was just a Malzahar targeted ban at Tempt. Rounding out the draft, it's either a support or a top laner.
They were teasing us with the Tahm Kench hover.
I mean, Tahm Kench is a good choice specifically into
There it is.
the Varus, but it is going to be the flex.
Will they do it?
I think it's very likely in this case, and they will do it. So they go for the winning lane matchup. Jace beats Gnar at basically every point of the lane, and if you can't, it's from level 1. So Smeb going to do his best to live up to the billing that Khan has kind of laid out with this particular matchup. Now we're waiting on BBQ to settle on their final pick for mid lane against the Rise.
Thinking about the Azir, Tempt certainly can play it. One of the better mechanical mid laners that we do have in LCK. And if there's a guy that I think has improved his mechanics and fingers enough, it is Smeb. And I'm sure that he will have a fun time up in the top lane, up against that Gnar.
I need a worry here is that the role for Trick is pretty difficult. There is CC in top lane situationally. Mid lane, I think, is going to be tricky to gank, of course, with Riot still having the stopwatch escape. So actually capitalizing this lane, it's not, say, instant CC and the Kha'Zix burst. It's more situational lanes for the Kha'Zix to overpower, whereas mid lane, very reliable gank path. Smeb is going to have Crazy at low health for the majority of the laning phase, and bot lane is going to be pretty non-interactive for both sides if KT have their way. So I like the draft from KT Rolster. It's all about the Jace. If the Jace gets ahead, we know how it goes. KT Rolster going to want to do their best impersonation of Kingzone DragonX with a comp like this.
I like the amount of poke they have on this composition as well. Even the Rise Qs are very nice, and you can get an engage going from essentially anywhere on the map with the Ornn ultimate. It really just offers you a way to get into that back line and dive anyone you want while having Deft completely covered by everyone else that's going to be up in the front. So, do like the composition as well.
Does confirm my suspicion that KT and most teams in Korea do value the Rise over the Azir. Good laning matchup, but ability to play side lanes is what we always talk about with Rise, when then over the side of BBQ, much more balanced draft. Certainly not a draft like their last draft against Rox Tigers, where you held your hands up and said, well, maybe lost at draft. Very standard draft, but drafting standard against KT Rolster is a bit of a risk, especially as they come off the confidence of taking down SKT in the telecom war.
Definitely going to be a hard matchup for BBQ going into this one, but let's see what they can do jumping into game number 1 of KT Rolster versus the BBQ Olivers. Match 16, rather. Not that far in the season yet, but we're getting there. Almost 2 weeks done here at the LCK.
Halfway through week number 2. Do have 2 more match days. People were asking about today's match day. Originally, this would have been a Sunday match day in the first week, but got other use to the stadium, from what I understand. So it was rebooked for today. That's why we get the 6 days the dream of LCK. Level 1, no Broms, so everyone can be a little bit more frisky with their invades for vision.
No Brom. Feels weird to say that. It's been a while.
Only the Banhammer can hold him back.
I feel like we just see him in every game.
Very defensive start for BBQ, just guaranteeing the red. The fact that he doesn't see Gnar in lane allows KT to just relay to score that it is a top red side start for the jungler, unless it was a fake leash coming through from Crazy. Looking at the history and even in game score, it's been very one-sided between these two.
Yeah, usually 2-0s. I mean, BBQ was one of the teams in spring last year that would just barely not go into relegation. And I think they actually did one time. Maybe it was spring. But either way, we have an engage already. Flash Ignite level 1. Ignar not wasting any time. Does get him low, but he's got some sustain.
And you definitely can't criticize Deft for his position there. It was a level 1. There was no level 2 power spike. The level 1 Taunt Flash Ignite power spike was what was put out by Ignar. And when it comes to that history, Valdez, I guess what we should tell the viewers is, if you're BBQ, you say, well, we've made some big acquisitions, bringing back 2 players from Europe. And now they're saying that maybe the history doesn't count anymore. Maybe it really is a new dawn for BBQ. They don't have a 2-0 match score to fully justify that, but we certainly have higher expectations for them in the 2018 season than we did in 2017 when they were one of those perennial relegation fodder teams.
Yeah, and you were talking about those guys who came back from EU. Well, Ignar is one of them. And,
he might just be dead.
Just as I was talking about him, the flash forward, that auto gets a second one. Mata over the head of Ghost. Just bops him on the head. I don't know what that was, but that's a bit of a mistake that you don't see in the bottom lane.
Either he was greeting for a demolish proc or it was a misclick. It's hard to tell which one it was from Ignar because he's a long veteran competitive player. Very strange to see. Ghost has his flash up.
He's going to flash first, try to bait the flash. Oh, he gets the flash, but he misses the flag and drag as Ghost does get far enough underneath the turret.
I mean, Ignar is a veteran at this point. He's not old, but he has been around the competitive scene since 2015. So for him to make such an obvious mistake when he had already drawn Flash and Ignite out from himself and the flash from Deft was almost incomprehensible. Was against the heal from Deft as well, so hopefully we get a replay to see if it was a misclick or if it was greeting for the demolish proc. Either way, that's they spent everything level 1 to get the level 2 advantage. They used Flash and Ignite, traded it for the Ezreal, allows Trick to come for a gank, but it also guaranteed them level 2 and lane control, but then they just give it all up from a single mistake by Ignar.
Doesn't really make sense, you know, when you put it that way. Would have to imagine it was a mistake. I don't think you're going to try to go for that level 2 demolish proc. That's like really min-maxing and would not like to see that, but who knows if we'll get a replay. That's really the big question here.
So far, we've seen in the mid lane the rise that we did not see much of in Series 1 to see it in Game 1. We're going to see a replay. Thanks, Spoo TV. So let's see. Demolish, 3, 4, 5, 6. He greeted for a Demolish proc and died. That's just awful from Ignar.
Yeah.
Really, really unnecessary. You don't have any extra health. The Demolish proc's not going to be 200 HP at level 2. Bizarre, bizarre stuff. Just too greedy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely one thing you always talk about going back and watching the VOD review. That's one thing where you're like, never do that again, ever again. That's
a very easy coach point of no. Never again, no.
Slap on the wrist, like...
No explanation.
Not even one thought ever again.
You never need to explain that one. Very, very straightforward. So unfortunate for Ignar, who had a really good start in his first series. Some sick outplays and some great roaming on the Alistair, but there's too much greed there. He does have Unsealed Spellbook, so his flash is going to be up a lot before Deft, so that's another thing. If you just play the standard laning phase, this is the part where you're like, my flash is up. I know his is still 40 seconds off cooldown. It is Ezreal, but that would have been another window of power. Right now, things are just that much different after the kind of rush of blood to the head by Ignar.
Yeah. At least the kill did go over to Mata and not Deft, so in terms of taking away a little bit of the scaling from the Ezreal, that can be pretty ridiculous if he does scale very fast. At least the gold did go over to Mata. So we'll see if they do want to do any play like that. He's got his Ignite as well.
While Smeb and Crazy were pretty equal early in the game, after junglers were accounted for, Crazy's been denied 2 to 3 waves here. He's gone for a back, a big grouped minion wave pushing to him, but they're trying to punish him and turret dive as the minion comes. Good start here.
Okay, the flash forward into that rune prison. Feels like it lasts a lifetime, and this time it will. 2 seconds. That's enough to take down Crazy in the top lane.
And that is a huge punish. Look at the minion wave he's losing. He just teleported to top side. I love the roam timing from KT. That's the confidence of winning the telecom war being reflected. Everyone's communication through that new shot caller in Smeb, and an insanely large punish. Look at the CS difference. He's losing another minion wave to top side. He just lost the best part of 3 to 3.5 minion waves for free.
It's real ugly, and even the red buff goes to Smeb on the Jace to add insult to injury. They put a control ward at the red. Trick tries to go in there, but he doesn't have a smite available, so he can't even steal the red back. So wasted time for Trick. Got invaded at his Raptors right after that kill happened. And already a nice little lead here for KT.
The Azir pick in mid lane is kind of count against them again. Obviously the only lane that nothing bad has happened for BBQ, but the reason why I say that is that, what did we say? We said, well, probably not going to be able to gank for the Gnar. It's a tough lane matchup. He would have loved to be on the Malzahar and be a reliable lane for the Kha'Zix to enter. Now it's just Azir wave clearing, so Kha'Zix can't really enter his topside jungle. Might just be killed by Jace and Jarvan roaming down. We're going to see the replay. The timing here is the story. Crazy's been desperate for the minions for the longest time, trying to play respectful, but then you punish the respect with a beautifully timed turret dive. Great EQ from Smeb as well. And now he has red buff, and Crazy's day is ruined.
Crazy, all he can do now is try to farm with Boomerang. Like,
which pushes the wave.
Yeah, I mean, he can't even get close. Like, Smeb has all the control in the world up there.
Sadly, this rune, good against Jinair, not good against KT Rolster with a start like this, the Gathering Storm.
Yeah. I like the idea, but maybe not in this game.
It's not over, but 1,700 gold lead, and the Gnar insanely far behind.
Yeah,
is a big problem.
Feels like one of those solo queue games where your top laner goes like 0-3 really early on, and it's like, well, he's not going to be a factor until like 40 minutes into this game.
We're in pro play though, so he won't run it down. He'll do his absolute best.
True. No running down anymore, not in League of Legends.
But the Jace will make him accountable. Trick either has to cover a Gnar who can't all in against the Jace, or give up his topside jungle, and he would love a red buff, but going to be denied one of those for a while.
They're looking for a play towards Trick, it looks like. Rune Prison, or Realm Warp coming on in, looking for a potential Rune Prison, but will not happen as Trick is already evolved on his ultimate.
Trick's jungle going to be at best, in tatters. At worst, all his red buffs for the entire game will be gone, depending on how fast and loose KT want to play around this Jace.
Also, a really nice Drake for KT. That extra damage with the Infernal Drake to start with total map control. The only thing is that a lot of their control is up towards the red side jungle. I'm sure they'll eventually take control of that Drake.
Mata can do a lot of help in pushing bot side, and the on-hit Varus is not a Q-max Varus, so you won't be able to necessarily push the waves as fast as basically any other Varus build. They're going to be fine. I think all objectives for the foreseeable future are KTs to start, and probably KTs to claim.
Pawn getting aggressive in the lane now.
I mean, they can see Trick on, vision in the red side jungle, so he has absolutely no cares in the world to push up and take trades.
Yeah. Also, Pawn with the Negatron Cloak, he's already finished a lot.
They're turret diving again.
Yeah. He has so much MR that in the lane, like, the poking doesn't even do anything against him. Here comes that turret dive. What is he going to do this time? There's even a TP coming in from Mata, because why not? Coming up into the top side, Ignar heals in as well as Tempt. They might just be dead. They've come into their deaths. What are they going to do? Here comes Trick, though, trying to trade back a kill onto the Jarvan. Gets one. Pawn getting low now. Perhaps I spoke a little bit too soon. Ignar going to get one. Smeb getting low, too. It's really the Mata show now, 1v2, but it looks like maybe he's gone a little bit too far. Got a stopwatch on the Ignar, forces that flash away, and, okay. That went a little bit better for BBQ than I expected.
Well, this is the meta we live in, where 400 people teleport topside because it's teleports and roams. Everyone took a visit except Deft and Ghost, who kind of wonder what was happening in the topside. They get the turret, which is what they went for, but it's more bloody than it needed to be for KT. That was perhaps bravado being false bravado for a moment, even if it still cements a 3,000 gold lead.
Would have to agree. Look at what happens in the bottom lane when there's no support. Deft already off to a really good start in this lane with the assist.
It feels like with Ezreal, for the one time we can be like, look at the item difference, a Mana Moon and Sheen against just a couple of daggers and also a pickaxe. But let's talk about top side, as Crazy got the Shen ult and thought he'd be fine, but everyone was coming for a top lane party. Crazy wasn't invited. As this went on though, Pawn is turret diving, and Trick, who you would think would have been chased out of the top side, is there. And between the two, they are able to mop this up a little bit. Doesn't end up being super positive for BBQ because they still lose the turret. Ignar actually taunting someone to death is hilarious. But it kept going on. Mata didn't die. And KT still got the objective they came for. The visual bug there is funny too.
I was wondering what happened there. Like, how did he just... Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's a pickaxe and 2 daggers against a lot of items on the side of Deft. So that's no fun for Ghost.
Including the amount of poke he can do when there's no threat of any taunts, of any ultimate combo from the Varus.
Isn't it great when Jace is in the meta?
It is.
The games just have so
really
much action.
Fast. I feel like Spo TV is just like all these teams, they've banded together and they're like, hey guys, it's Papa's birthday, it's Pawn's birthday, let's get everybody home on time and let's have some time to celebrate. Let's play these really fast compositions and make them work.
Beautiful. Can't ask for anything more. And I even had some BBQ chicken. So
yes.
Getting everything here is a lot of damage done by Tempt. Off screen mostly. We kind of watched only when Pawn has walked up and done a bit of damage. Bit of a one-sided narrative there for the birthday boy. Another invade by Skull. As I said, every objective KT wants, BBQ is probably going to be second to.
The ultimate comes through.
Doesn't actually steal it away.
Yeah. Was on point. At least to hit the blue buff.
Nice item timing from Azir on the Nashor's too. Ghost just wants to stay extended in laning phase. May actually have enough gold for the Rage Blade, but not 100% clear on that.
He was thinking about backing, but a pretty severe push down in the bottom lane. Like, look at how low that turret is already getting.
Q's are already doing 300 damage or so to him as well.
Deft doesn't miss. He's on point. Maybe after defeating SKT, he's like, okay, I'm back in full form.
Kha'Zix is here.
Yeah.
Not spotted until now.
The flash into the ultimate. Here comes that Ornn, though.
Amado was stunned and snared. He wasn't actually able to use the second part of the ult.
Yeah, we got Ignar coming in as well. That's going to be the kill onto Deft. Red is praising him. Maybe a little bit too far forward. Nice gank there by BBQ, though.
And so important that Mata wasn't able to use the second part of the core, the Forage Guard. Would have probably used it to disengage the two people rushing on. Skill Deft, who dies with both his summoners up. Summoners wouldn't have got him away. He would have died anyway, but guarantee there by the interrupt on the ultimate. And Trick just helping them push in the wave. We'll see the replay. The accuracy baited him. This is where being a good player actually baited him to keep sticking around. And Mata's like, yep, let's kill him. Got the ultimate. Didn't know he was in a ward. Mata building up items. Watch the ult here. The second part, the Chain of Corruption, actually stops Mata from being able to use it as far as we can tell. From there, Deft can't do anything. The rest walk away. Awkward stuff for KT Rolster, but well pounced on by BBQ.
You can't pong it back if you can't move. So Score, after securing the Infernal Drake, says, well, this is my job as a jungler. I dive if I can, and then I'm going to take some objectives. Smeb even coming on over after pushing the top lane. A pretty free objective, as you were talking about, for KT Rolster, trying to snowball their lead.
If you guys are wondering about the build, the Jace build we've seen every time we've seen the counter matchup of Jace into Gnar is to play the Ruin King into the Black Cleaver just to try to annihilate the Gnar. Play the Ruin King, situationally useful for the slow, but also the HP damage when he's in the Mega Gnar form. So while it's not a poke build, he's not looking to poke, he's just looking to try to kill the enemy top laner.
They're looking for attempts to get baited by Pawn here. But here comes Trick. Might be a forced 1v2.
Scott tried to do the shortest ever EQ to actually stun him up, but still missed it.
He like put the flag on top of himself.
That was really funny.
Yeah. Oh, Rift Herald comes in.
Not going to kill it outright.
No. We'll see if they go in together. 3-on-2 right now. You got Ornn and... Oh, boy! Tempt losing more than half his health to one Shock Blast. And at the same time, the bottom turret goes down.
Nowhere for the Varus to stand. He couldn't come over. He couldn't do anything. The ult from Ignar still on cooldown. It gets a second charge, but obviously not going to be a massive one. KT Rolster. So much standing gold, and they want Ghost as well.
And they're going to have him eating up their BBQ chicken very deliciously tonight. Okay. Crazy's fighting back. He's got Trick with him, but the TP is coming in. Do they have enough damage, though? Boomerang is going to do it, and the TP is canceled, saying, you're dead, buddy. We're going to go for bot turret anyway.
Pawn is pushing in unattached. He's feeling really good today on his birthday. Feels birthday man working for Pawn and for KT Rolster. It took the time of Trick as basically every part of their structures outside the base were being taken down as they chased down the kill. 2 out of 5 for both junglers, but Score just needs to help tank a turret. That's really all he has to do. The damage is there from his laners, that's for certain.
4 turrets to 0 right now. No other objectives to take at the moment. So we'll see what KT wants to do in the interim. Will they just farm up, you know, try to deny as many camps as possible in the enemy jungle? We're going to take another look at Ghost, who doesn't have his flash, gets hit by the brittle proc as well. And even though Mata misses his charge, actually charges into the turret, it does not matter.
One of the reasons that Ornn's support is so strong is that the ultimate is an insane ability because of the range you can cast it from. Also the cooldown, but that'll be adjusted in the future. And then in the late game, you're like, hey, we got a guy who's pretty tanky who can initiate, and we got the Ornn items as well. So even from the support role, if you ban away a lot of other high presence support, or the Braum, who's probably a higher tier support than most of the other ones, why not Braum? Why not Ornn and his ability also to be a flex pick? So very, very clean stuff from KT, and they got the Jace into Gnar because there wasn't the double ban by BBQ to cover. It was only the ban on the Camille, not the Jace.
You think we'll still see Ornn very popular after the pretty severe nerf? He's going to get out of here. He's totally fine. He's Ryze in this meta. Already got Zhonya's as well. Do you think we're going to see Ornn still after the heavy nerf to the cooldown?
So the nerf to the W Unstoppable is a pretty big one for laning phase.
Yeah.
I actually think we'll see him more in support. I don't think we'll see as much top lane Ornn, but I think for support, obviously the outplay is nice, but just how much he provides from support in terms of engage and also the items in a long meta, where games are on average going very long, I think he still will see a spot in support, but my first thought is probably not at top lane.
Yeah, would have to agree. You'll notice that Mata down in the bottom lane just went for cooldown reduction boots. Why not? He's basically just let's ult as many times as possible.
Hey,
right
he'll
now.
tank some turret shots as well.
Yeah, you know, he's probably got demolition. Move on in there and do a bit of damage.
KT's map control has been pretty much 100%. I actually spy some aggressive wards on the enemy blue. That's the first time BBQ have been able to push up vision. Is why not kill Ghost again?
He has his flash, but they decide just to knock him up. The shock blast is going to miss here. But Deft with the red buff. Tempt cannot stay in lane against Spawn anymore. I say Deft, I mean Tempt. Having a bit of trouble 1v1 right now.
Great map control from KT. I love how they are keeping their foot on the accelerator in a way that, you know, KSV were able to do in Game 3, that Kingzone have done twice in recent memory. This is, again, a style that we'd love to see more in Korea, but you need to be so on point, both in terms of your pick and ban, but also your early game strategy to get into a spot like this where everywhere KT goes, it's going to be a win.
It's a lot of damage onto Pawn, into the taunt, and he misses his flash, but it doesn't matter because he's Rise. Looks like Score might get away as well.
Deft is really strong. Oh, he was doing 400 damage Mystic shots onto Trick. I see you face some Rises in solo queue. You're working on some frustration here, Valdez.
Yeah, you know, I got to get it out when it's appropriate.
Look, at least it's a Zonia's Rise. At least he paid.
Yeah, he paid for it, you know. He deserves it, right?
I mean, no, but he paid for it.
True.
Was the information that on the PBE, they announced that for 8.3, the Zonia's port, or the stopwatch port, both of those will be gone.
Okay.
But we've still got a few more weeks to enjoy of this.
It's nice for all the Rise players. I made a tweet the other day where I was like, how much of Rise's, you know, top tier potential in the meta currently is because he has a free escape with stopwatch and Zonia's eventually? What do you think, Papa? You
For
didn't
solo
answer my
queue,
tweet.
I would say 95% because
Okay.
Rise is not a good champion in solo queue. His ultimate gets almost no value because the amount of coordination without voice comms is unlikely. In pro play, you know, it's 50-50. We're going to watch the replay here as somehow Pawn didn't die. Thank you, Sonia's. The thing is, Rise is a safe laner even without the ability to stopwatch ult, just because he builds in such a flexible way, tier into whatever you feel like when it comes to mana items. So he'll still be used, I think, at least a bit. But for solo queue, I think almost all of his power, his ult is almost an ability you shouldn't level, just because without the Zonia's play, I think it really contributes almost nothing in pro play. Sorry, in solo queue play.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we'll see in the future. 8.3 will be rolling around eventually.
You can still play side lanes really well, so we'll see some of it as they're hunting crazy.
And they should be able to get him. In comes Ignar. Score trying to move forward. He gets that max range Cataclysm. A couple more auto attacks will do it, even with how tanky Crazy is right now, surprisingly. They do eventually take him out 3-on-2.
Score actually dropped the Cataclysm, stopped there being a multi-man stun against it. Smart from him. Not that it was going to matter in that case. Too low was the Gnar. They keep pushing up, going to get a little bit of damage onto the inhibitor turret here. They back away. He draws 3 people. Things going great for the side of KT Rolster.
Turns out that even in 8.1, if you get this far ahead this fast, with that big of an advantage up in the top lane, and even in the bot lane, you can snowball it quite easily.
They couldn't afford to have bot lane give up a kill early while top lane was a counter matchup, Valdez. That was the really big problem for the side of BBQ.
Drake's gonna try to make something out of this.
He thinks better of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even with the extra slow, with the isolation.
5 members of KT here, so BBQ cannot engage any longer.
The entire jungle is KT's. The red side jungle for now. Trick trying to take some back.
Not really sure about the Black Cleaver rush from Crazy. I feel like when you're in this spot, you kind of piece together a Frozen Mallet and a Warden's Mail, and you make the best of it, because at least with Frozen Mallet, theoretically, a jungler can gap close and kill the Jace. With Black Cleaver,